guys, in this session, I really want to dig deep into the PAC method, for it really is the foundation of your sales call and of your close. It's used 1,000 times. I figured this out literally on a hitchhiking trip, where I learned very quickly, either you get picked up or you're just a big bum on the side of the road. And you have to learn how to engage people in conversation, move things along, get a ride, all that stuff. You have to learn how to sell. This PAC method works. And so PAC stands for position, answer, close. And it's used in almost every single part of the sale. Even your some people call it an upfront contract or setting the agenda. It's a form of positioning somebody. So, hey, I just want to let you know that the way these things work best is I'm going to ask you a few questions regarding your situation, and I'll see if and how I can support you. If I can, I'll let you know. If I can't, I'll let you know that too. How's that sound? Fair enough? Is that good? Does that work for you? And that's what your close is. And so you're basically shutting the door, and you can't go back to that because they've given you approval for that whole thing. You know, the Titanic was, obviously a big ship, and the reason why it sank is because they have compartments in the bottom, and these compartments, you could shut off each compartment and you can save the ship. But if you leave the door open and you're shutting, eventually the water can rush in, and that's what makes it sink. And so what these little closes do is basically shut the door on that portion of your answer. And so they really can't go back to that. Or you can go back to that and say, hey, remember you said this before. And so all parts of the sale, the agenda, we're setting it up. Another important part where you're using this position, answer, close is when you're making that transition, where you're like kind of building the gap, and you make the transition for, got it, I know where you are right now. I think I know what you're missing. So, building the gap, as you know, is, okay, I see where you are now. I understand through our discovery calls discovery questions, where you're looking to go. And it turns out the only thing you're missing is this little gap in the middle. So the way this would work, I need to get a new blue marker. I want to use it. It's a nice color, but it's empty. So we'll use the green. All right. So even when you're building the gap, got it. I think I know where you are right now, where you are right now, and I think I know where you're looking to go. And the only thing you're missing is this little gap in the middle that you're missing more at bats or getting in front of more customers or whatever it is. And isn't that right? Isn't that right? Yes, it is. Boom. Now you know exactly what their problem is through your discovery call, and now you position it. Yes, that's actually right. Then you go to the next section and you say to them, God, so let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. You're positioning them. Let me ask you that. You can't just go right into the answer. Let me ask you this. Position them. And now you have their attention, right? It's like when you have a kid and you want them to clean their room. You don't just say, clean your room. You say, Matthew. Get their attention. Clean your bloody room. Got it? Matthew. Clean your bloody room. Got it? It works. It's really for everything. It's really for everything. So you want to get them more. So let me ask you this. If there was a way that I can walk you hand in hand and get you from where you are now to where you want to go, how quickly would you want to get started? It's every part of the sale. And then most importantly, during objections. So the whole idea of objections is, remember, always agree. You're basically positioning them. Got it. I need to think about it. Got it. That makes sense. If I were you, I'd say the same thing. But let me ask you this. And then you can go into a question or something like that. Let me ask you this. Aside from the needing to think about it, do you understand, does the program make sense for you? Do you see how it works for other people? Yes, getting commitment. Do you see how it works for other people? Let me ask you this. Do you see how it works for other people? Yes. Well, let me ask you, and can you see how it could work for yourself? Yes, 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 yes. So let me ask you, when you are, in your time of contemplation and you're thinking about things all over about life in general, in regards to this, what's rolling through your mind? And you can go right into it, but you always got to position first and then close at the end. Make sense? So it's very important for you to practice that thing. When somebody asks you a question, you don't just directly answer it. You contemplate it. You say things like, good question, or, I was hoping you would ask that, or perfect. Now we're on the same page. Boom, now you got them. And then you can answer the question there, and then you follow up with the close, and the close is always something like, does that make sense? Now, I know you're worried that if you use the same close over and over, it's going to get cumbersome and boring for them. Yes, it will, but that's where your tonality changes. This little method here, along with tonality, is killer. Make sense? Or does that kind of make sense? Or making sense? Are we on the same page? Just like that, you could just change the way you say things, and it almost creates emotion. So let's use an example, even with the close. Even when you're going, a lot of times before I make the presentation, I do the same thing like this. Hey, is it okay if we talk about money? After I made the presentation, it's time to talk about money. Position. Okay, is it okay if I talk about money right now? Yes. Great. Well, and then I go into the answer of what it is. And so, is it okay if we talk about it? Yes, it's good. Okay, well, actually, it's really simple. There's no upfront fees. There's no contract. There's no subscription. All it is blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And what that costs is $5,000 or $25,000 and 10% of this. How's that sound? Or closing, or was that more or less than you thought it would be? Somebody asks you, how much. A lot of times I'm dealing with people that are getting job seekers, and they ask them, how much do you need to earn, or something like that. Yeah, that's a good question. So you're on an interview, and somebody says, well, how much do you want to make? By the way, I use the word earn because only the government makes money. People have to earn it. Okay. So how much would you like to earn? Thank you so much for asking. I know you wouldn't ask that unless you were considering hiring me. What I'd like to earn is $250,000 a year. Let me ask you, was that more or less than you were expecting to pay for someone like me? I mean, it's just free. What it does is it just takes control of the situation. And that's how you gain control of the situation. I'll make some other videos because, sometimes you're on a call or you're speaking with someone who is very knowledgeable of the sales cycle and all that stuff, and they kind of know what you're doing. Even if they know what you're doing, using this method is still comforting to them. You can't make a mistake by always positioning, answering, asking, and then closing. Does that make sense? We'll see you next time. This is money, guys. Practice this. Practice your trial closes. That makes sense? We on the right page? Are we still working? Is everything working right here? Do you understand? Did I explain that correctly? All those little closes, just anything to get a nod, yes. When somebody asks you a question, you've earned the right to close. Go get them today. We'll see you next time.